All right, welcome everybody to our webinar today, Addressing Summer Hunger Through Summer EBT. My name is Kelsey Boone, and I am from the Food Research and Action Center. FRAC is the leading national nonprofit addressing poverty-related hunger in the United States, and we're very happy to be here with you today, along with the Ed Trust Foundation. So, Blair.
Thank you, Kelsey. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this afternoon. Again, my name is Blair Riston. I am the Senior Government Affairs Associate at the Education Trust. We are a national nonprofit that works exclusively in the education space, but we work to address disparities that are impacting underserved students, particularly students of color and students from local backgrounds. We're really pleased to have you all joining today, and we're excited to have our friends at USDA joining us today as well. With that, I want to just invite everyone over the course of today's webinar, if you have questions that you would love for FNS to answer, please use the Q&A format. Ask your questions. We will have a Q&A piece of the webinar directly following today's presentation. With that, I have the distinct honor of inviting Administrator Cindy Long to give some opening remarks. Cindy Long was appointed Administrator for Food and Nutrition Service, FNS, on September 13th, 2021. Administrator Long was most recently served as Food and Nutrition Service Acting Administrator and has had extensive experience with FNS, including serving as Deputy Administrator for Child Nutrition Programs. In this role, she led the FNS implementation of the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act, the most significant restructuring of these programs in decades, and a legislative centerpiece of the Obama-Biden administration's nutrition initiatives. Please, Administrator Long.
Great. Thank you so much, Blair and Kelsey, for the warm welcome. It's great to be here. I'm so happy to join you today, and I appreciate everyone joining this webinar, and I want to offer a special thanks to the Education Trust and to FRAC for bringing us all together. Now, as you may know, FNS administers 16 federal nutrition programs that include SNAP, WIC, the school meals programs, as well as summer meal programs for children, which is what is going to be our focus on today's webinar. But before I hand it over to our team to talk in a little bit more detail about some new tools we have to feed kids during the summer, I want to just take a moment and convey how exciting and historic this moment is. Back in December, the Omnibus appropriation bill passed by Congress included bold bipartisan action to ensure that kids don't go hungry over the summer months. Congress authorized, for the first time, a nationwide program allowing states to provide EBT benefits for households who have children who are eligible and for free and reduced price meals. So that way, those families that get those meals during the school meal will now be getting resources to buy groceries over the summer. And that will start next summer, summer of 2024. Congress also established another new tool, which is a permanent option within the existing summer program that allows states to provide what we call non-congregate summer meals. What that means is we can do things that we were able to do during the pandemic, like grab-and-go meals or meal delivery. And that this is really going to be important for communities where the traditional congregate program, which brings kids together to eat a meal, doesn't work well, or it's not available. That option, that non-congregate option, launched this past summer. Both of these tools will have permanent and historic impact on how we meet the needs of children during the summer. And I want to thank you for the role you've already played to make it happen. You know, looking forward, our vision is that every state, eligible tribe, and territory will work along with partner organizations to create a unified strategy to ensure that children have all the nutrition and support they need in the summer months. And that includes leveraging all the tools we have to now provide that nutrition support, including that traditional program that brings children together, the non-congregate or the pickup and delivery options, and then of course, the new summer EBT option that's available to every child that receives free and reduced price meals. When you hear summer EBT, some of you might go to thinking about some of the challenges that states and that schools in particular faced to quickly stand up a pandemic EBT program during the COVID, which was, of course, an already very difficult time. But I want to stress that the the summer EBT program that will launch next summer is not pandemic EBT. It's a new and permanent program, one that we're going to build. And we are certainly going to learn from the important lessons that we experienced from pandemic EBT and build on the successes there. But we're also going to have a lot of tools we didn't have for pandemic EBT, like the stability of long-term regulations and guidance, and the ability to provide technical assistance and tools to support a permanent program. Once the program is stood up, it will be a stable and predictable and understandable program for both states and families for years to come. I also want to share that summer EBT really is evidence-based policy at its very best. There have been rigorous evaluations of summer EBT demonstration projects that have been run over the course of the last decade that show clearly that summer EBT benefits work to combat summer hunger. Summer EBT cut the number of low-income children who experienced very low food security, which is the most severe form of food insecurity. It cut that by a third. It also improved diet quality. Successful implementation of summer EBT will hinge on strong partnerships between the state agencies that operate the child nutrition programs, that are responsible for education, and the SNAP program. That's part of where you come in. It's going to take all of us working together across organizational boundaries to build systems that allow states to identify and enroll eligible children in an efficient, streamlined way, and to communicate clearly with families about the benefits, just to name a few of the things that will need to happen. While summer EBT benefits are 100% federally funded, so I want to say that again, the benefits are 100% federally funded. It is the case that states are required by the law to provide 50% of the administrative costs, with the federal government providing the other 50%. So that does mean that there will be a cost to states to stand up the program and to operate it on an ongoing basis. So it is critical that state officials, all the way up to the governor, make funding the administrative portion of this program a top priority. We're counting on you as we go forward to continue the incredible work you have been doing to combat hunger, promote nutrition, and advance on equity. We all know that summer hunger and summer learning loss impacts too many kids across the nation, especially when they lose access to their nutritious meals during the summer. So this is a remarkable opportunity. We know that each of the strategies I've mentioned reduces food insecurity, and we're so thrilled at the prospect of what we can do to galvanize these programs to ensure that no kid goes hungry in the summer. I ask that you, as you work to support these efforts, keep at top of your mind the profound impact we can have if we get this right. You have all played a key role in advancing policies that support whole child well-being and that advance equity for children of color and children from low-income backgrounds. So we hope you will join us in this incredibly important work to end summer hunger for kids nationwide. We need your engagement and advocacy. We hope you will let decision makers know what a historic opportunity we have and how important it is that they use their roles to ensure that their states start working now to get this program up and running next summer. We're doing everything that we can to support states and schools here at USDA. We are also working closely with our colleagues at the Department of Ed, and your support will serve as an important testament to the importance of supporting kids both inside and outside of schools. So to conclude, thank you in advance for your partnership on this and for all of your work to advance healthy school meals and for everything that you do. So let me go ahead and pass it off to USDA's Liz Campbell, who can share more about these new tools and timelines.
Thanks so much, Administrator Long, and thanks for that excellent framing of today's conversation. My name is Liz Campbell, and I'm the Branch Chief of External Affairs at FNS. And before I dive in, I also just want to say thank you so much to Blair and Kelsey for all of their work to organize this webinar, but even beyond that, just so thankful for your partnership and everything that you've done to support this historic opportunity. I'm going to share my screen and we can get started. Make sure I get a thumbs up. Can everyone see my screen okay? All right, thanks, Blair. I am a trained dietitian, and we spend a lot of time talking about presentations, and we always start with tell people what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. So the first slide here, I just want to start off with our agenda for today. So first, we're going to walk through background on summer meals and really take a step back and finally define the problem that we are working to solve. And then we'll talk a little bit more specifics about the non-congregate feeding option and the summer EBT option that Cindy discussed earlier. And thanks to bipartisan work on the Hill, we have the opportunity to implement and really address summer hunger. Then I really want to paint the picture for folks. What does summer success look like? What does summer success look like in 2024, 2025, 2026? You know, this is the beginning of a historic opportunity, and there's lots of phases. And so we really want to share with folks what summer success looks like and dive deeply into what you can do to support it. When we were planning for this webinar, we really wanted to have folks walk away at the end with tangible things that they could do to participate and to support this effort. So although when we get to the summer success piece, although we are going to touch on the non-congregate provision, you will notice that a majority of our points and asks really center around summer EBT. And that's because there's some unique complexities with summer EBT and some differences. And this is the first time in 40 years that we're standing up a brand new program. So there is quite a bit to do around summer EBT to make sure that it's successful in 2024 and beyond. So just flagging for folks to be focused on those asks and understanding why there's such a focus on summer EBT. And then lastly, we'll talk about next steps. We have some milestones and implementation timeline that we want to share with folks. And I do want to stress, and we will put this in the chat box at the end of the during the Q&A, we are learning and building our resources. So we have a website that's established for the summer 2024 kickoff and beyond. We have some resources that exist now that outline milestones, some of our vision. As we develop more resources, we will be using that website kind of as a central depository or repository for folks to be able to take a look. And so I encourage you to go back to that website often to see what additional information that we'll be sharing as we continue through the phases of implementation. So let's just take one step back and really put a fine point on what it is that we're trying to do. First of all, FNS is committed to supporting children year-round through its nutrition assistance programs, right? And we know that children need consistent access to nutritious food to grow, learn, and thrive. And that's why we're all here today, right? This is the thing that we all are coming together and we have in common, is that addressing summer hunger is something we all want to accomplish. And for children, food insecurity in particular is devastating, right? We know that not having enough healthy food can have serious implications for a child's physical and mental health, academic achievement, and future economic prosperity. So making sure kids, this opportunity that we have in front of us, have access to nutritious food in the summer is an effort where we cannot fail. And we all have a part to do to ensure success. I think it's really important to take a step and share our understanding of where we are with summer hunger. So summer break allows school-age children time to rest and recharge. As a parent, I know that is the time where I'm not resting and recharging because my children are home. But something that's critical for mental and physical health is that break that kids get. But we know, unfortunately, food insecurity increases for children when schools are closed for summer recess. And nearly 30 million children participate in and rely on USDA's school breakfast and lunch program. And so when schools are closed, kids lose access to these nutritious meals. And despite our best efforts, and many folks who are on this call, despite all of our best efforts for many years, we still are missing quite a few children who have access to school meals during the school year. And this is our chance to look at our traditional tools and complement that with our new tools and to merge these together into a vision to address summer hunger. So let's first just take a look at what our traditional tools are. And I want to be very clear, and I think it's important, Administrator Long said this earlier in her remarks, but I do think it's important to double down on this. Traditional summer meal programs have provided healthy meals at no cost to low-income children and teens for a long time and are vital. They are the building blocks to ensuring kids have access to healthy meals and enrichment activities in the summer, right? This is the foundation, the stepping stone. And we know summer meal sites operated by schools, local government, community groups, faith-based organizations, and others that offer not only healthy school meals, but that opportunity for enrichment activity for academic success and physical activity. We are just stressing how critical that is and how important summer meal sites are to addressing summer hunger and beyond, right? If you are somebody who has established summer meal programs in the past, if you run programs within your communities, if you work in this area, thank you so much. There's so much work to still do to make sure that we grow this part of our program as much as possible, right? And to make sure that we're offering these meal sites in places and communities and at times that work for everybody. So first point, really want to just drive home that the traditional summer meal programs are still incredibly vital. But we know that they don't necessarily reach all the children. And we know that one size rarely fits all, and we've seen this in communities that the traditional model doesn't always reach the folks that we're looking to serve. And I think it's important to say, again, despite our best efforts, that the traditional sites reached about 1 in 6 kids who receive free or reduced school meals. So we know that we have this building block, this incredibly critical program, but we still have some growth and opportunities in front of us. And I think this is where we can get into why it's so important that we now have 3 different ways to address summer hunger, right? So if you look at, again, thanks to the bipartisan actions of Congress, we now have 3 different things that we can do to address summer hunger. 1, our traditional summer meal sites. 2, a pickup or delivery meals in rural areas that don't have access to congregate meals, right? Make sure that we are very clear about what's in the statute about how to establish non-congregate meals. And then 3rd, the new summer EBT program that will provide a grocery benefit. So our vision is to make sure that all states, territories, tribes, school districts, stakeholders are all working together to make sure that kids have access to healthy foods in the future. And all of these tools in our toolbox are intended to complement one another. That is not one program is better than the other. It is how can we, as a community, actively engage all 3 of these resources to really address summer hunger. I'm going to pause there and just remind folks, as we're framing the conversation and defining the problem, talking through solutions, please feel free to put your questions in the Q&A box. We want this to be an exchange. We hope folks walk away feeling like they're motivated and that they have the information they need and the actions that they need to take to help participate. So please feel free to write your questions in the Q&A box. Okay, so let's talk about our agenda, get folks excited, kind of frame the conversation. Now moving into our 2 provisions from the Omnibus. So we witnessed during the pandemic the difference providing take-home and meal delivery made for low-income rural families, right? And living in areas where traditional summer meal programs leave gaps. The non-congregate option addresses challenges in the lack of transportation, site, funds, and staff to support summer meal programs in hard-to-reach rural areas. And I just wanted to take a moment to reflect on my own personal experience of working in upstate New York. We had entire counties with very high levels of free and reduced price meal students where there were no summer meal programs, and this was just 15 years ago. So we, despite our best efforts to try to establish sites, we couldn't always get the kids there. Despite our best efforts to get kids to a particular site, there wasn't the staffing or the resources to keep the program running. The timing wasn't working for the families in that community. We saw big gaps in service despite lots of money invested and a lot of staff time to try to think about this. So I just think when we look at this opportunity, we could benefit up to an additional 8 million children in rural America by taking advantage of the non-congregate option. Okay, so now let's focus on summer EBT launching in 2024. In 2023, this past summer, we had great success with the non-congregate option, and folks came to USDA sharing great stories, success stories, suggestions on how to improve the program. So we thank all of the state agencies and folks on the call who did an excellent job lifting up and kicking off the 2023 non-congregate option. And we are open to hearing additional feedback, and we hope that we continue to grow the program. Moving to summer EBT and it launching in 2024, our vision is that states, tribes, and local partners will work to roll out the nationwide summer EBT program that could benefit more than 29 million children across America if all of the states opted in. So this is the first time that USDA has stood up a brand new program in 40 years. And what that program would look like is during the summer, families will receive $40 worth of food benefits per summer month on a preloaded card for each eligible child. And they can use the benefits to buy groceries similar to how SNAP benefits are used. Again, I want to stress this point, and these food dollars are in addition to, not instead of, nutritious summer meals children receive through the traditional in-person option or grab-and-go delivery options. The benefit amount also will be indexed to food prices each year. I know we've been focused on that in the anti-hunger space, looking at food costs. So this particular benefit is indexed to food prices each year. That means if food prices rise, the benefit levels will increase as well. So why are we so excited about this historic opportunity? And Administrator Long mentioned this before, but this really is because rigorous evaluation of summer EBT demonstrates that summer EBT works. Summer EBT is a story of evidence-based policy at its best, right? We talk about this all the time as advocates, as federal employees. We talk about how incredibly important it is to test our ideas and make sure that we're seeing that the investments are effective. And summer EBT is an effective program. And again, similar to what Administrator Long shared, summer EBT cut the number of low-income children when we look at our demonstration projects and our evaluation who experienced very low food security, which is the most severe form of food security, by a third. And it improved dietary quality for children receiving summer EBT. We addressed two issues with one intervention. Not only did it address food insecurity, the data also shows that it improved diet quality, and that's an important coupling of outcomes. And I also just want to reflect on the pandemic EBT. Similar research found that the pandemic EBT, or PEBT, reduced hardship among the lowest income children by 30% in the week after families received benefits. And that was protecting nearly 4 million children from experiencing hunger, right? So then Congress listened to the data, listened to the outcomes, and made summer EBT a permanent program. So again, if all the states participate, families of more than 29 million children could receive additional dollars to put healthy food on their tables in the summertime. So at the beginning of the presentation, I shared that we are going to spend a little bit more time today diving into summer EBT because there's some complexities that we want to make sure folks understand as we're standing up the program. And we really need your help. So if you can only help, and we can only ask for your help if you understand the full range of concerns and complexities, right? So the first thing I want to do is just kind of point out the three complexities that we've documented after lots of listening sessions and information meetings with stakeholders, with folks on the ground, with state agencies. There's three distinct complexities that we think folks should be familiar with to help us think about what next steps look like to make summer EBT successful for next year and beyond. The first is the difference between pandemic PEBT and summer EBT. And Administrator Long had mentioned this as well. Pandemic EBT was stood up very quickly at a time that was incredibly stressful, and it was very challenging to administer at the state and local level. Despite the fact that nearly 4 million children benefited and we helped kids not experience hunger, it was still challenging. And there are still some lingering frustrations, burnout, of the reality of administering PEBT that's impacting how summer EBT is progressing. And I think it's important that we acknowledge that and that we honor that, because they were very real frustrations and experiences that folks who were administering the programs experienced during PEBT. Secondly, with summer EBT, there's actually a 50% administrative match at the state level, which is different from PEBT and the summer EBT demonstration projects. And third, applications are going to be required for some children attending CEP schools. So I wanted to make sure that we dive into each one of these complexities a little bit more so that folks have a real understanding of what's happening with summer EBT. So the first one is summer EBT is not PEBT, right? So we hopefully can all be reframing the conversation that summer EBT is a new permanent program, one that will benefit from the lessons learned from PEBT. But at the end of the day, summer EBT is a new program that needs to be built from the ground up. And we could really use your help in talking about summer EBT and talking about the differences between summer EBT and PEBT. I think first, it's very obvious that the summer EBT is a much smaller benefit at $40 worth of food a month per child. Second, the program has benefited from the lessons learned from the pandemic, and USDA has actively been working with stakeholders from tribes, state agencies. We've worked with school administrators. We've talked to school nutrition professionals. We have done over 104 listening sessions and education and informational meetings with stakeholders to gather as much feedback as possible. And we've taken that feedback very, very seriously as we look to stand up the program and put out the interim final rule in December 2023. And I just want to thank folks, because there are a lot of people who are on this call, and EdTrust and FRAC were part of conversations as well, really helping to facilitate the fact that we're taking feedback seriously, and we have the benefit of summer EBT being a program that isn't going to be stood up overnight, and we have long-term rulemaking, and we have the benefit of time to make sure that we are, talking to all the folks who could be impacted by the program. And lastly, this is something I know advocates do well. We really need your help to recenter the conversation on what's at stake here. When we talk about summer EBT and the historic opportunity in front of us, we're talking about the opportunity to do what's best for kids. And although lots of things are hard, I think the one thing that we can all come together around is that summer EBT works. And if we could be recentering the conversations as we're talking about frustrations and burnout, about how these programs are making a significant impact in children's lives, that would be incredibly helpful. We know it's hard. We know that folks are struggling, but we also know that the program works and it's what's best for kids. And I have been doing this work for a long, long time. And if there's nothing that doesn't bring this community together, it's because everyone's here to do what's best for kids. So we're just really looking forward to folks helping us to recenter some of the conversations about why we should be working on summer EBT. Now I want to talk a little bit, so that's our first complexity that we just wanted to outline for folks. The second thing that we want to outline for folks is to understand that the way the summer EBT program will operate when compared to the PEBT and the demonstration projects, unlike PEBT and the demonstration projects, Congress only authorized USDA to pay 50% of administrative costs for summer EBT. And so that means that states will need to come up with match funds. And so securing these match funds will be critical for state agencies to have the resources they need to stand up the program. And I think you're hearing redundancy in our presentation on purpose. This is so critical to success. We really need all hands on deck for folks to be working at the state level to secure funding. And so while this is a very real challenge, investing the time and resources to build a reliable and permanent summer EBT program will pay dividends to families across states for years to come. So we've had a lot of questions about administrative costs. So you may be wondering too, what's included in administrative costs? While it's not possible to provide an exhaustive list, right, of what constitutes summer EBT administrative costs, the most common expenses are associated with the delivery of benefits to each eligible household. So like the cost of EBT cards or providing customer service to clients. Administrative costs will vary greatly from state to state and will depend on many factors like associated startup costs, EBT vendor contracts, and method providing benefits to households. But right, we know that it's worth it. We know that summer EBT works. I think the other piece that we want to emphasize is that local economies may also benefit from families having more money in their pocket to spend in their communities, which is an additional benefit of having the summer EBT program within a state. So again, we urge you to work with your state legislatures to identify funds to cover summer EBT administrative costs, as well as determine any changes in state law needed to support effective program implementation. I know Kelsey and Crystal at FRAC have been working on this. So any additional challenges or potential barriers at the state legislative level would be helpful to flag and to understand. And then lastly, the last complexity that we just wanted to share with folks is around applications. In order to receive summer EBT benefits, some children will need to fill out applications. And while most children will be deemed eligible for summer EBT through an automatic enrollment process and will not need to fill out an application, there are some that will need to fill out an application in order to receive summer EBT benefits. The biggest group of children that will need to fill out a summer EBT application are those in what we call special provision schools. And when we say special provision schools, we mean community eligibility provision or CEP schools. And so as many of you know, children in special provision schools get free meals no matter what their individual household income status is. So schools do not collect applications annually. So children enrolled at schools that do not offer free meals to all students and charge a reduced price and full price copays for school meals may also fill out a summer EBT application. If, for example, they're not already automatically enrolled in summer EBT and they do not have an eligibility determination made by an NSLP application on file, or they want to apply during the summer months. So for your awareness, this has been a really hot topic. It's a divergence from how things worked with PEBT and the summer EBT demonstration projects. And so we just want to make sure that folks are fully aware of the range of potential challenges and where we need supports to see what summer success looks like. So now that you've heard the why we're all together, the what, so the provisions, and then what some of the complexities are, we really just wanted to give you a list of ways that you could support summer success. First, we've mentioned it now a few times, the administrative match. As we've shared today, securing the 50% match in state budgets or other avenues is going to be a critical next step in summer EBT implementation. So please consider ways that you can address finding the match in your state. Secondly, we really need your help educating your networks and program recipients from on eligible children. So because there are new options, we also need help spreading the word about summer EBT and the new rural provisions of the summer food service program. And these programs are only as good as the number of children they reach, and USDA needs your help in making sure schools, teachers, parents, nonprofit organizations, community partners, retailers, and eligible children know about these critical nutrition programs. and how to access them. And I really just want to give a plug again, and we'll put this in the chat box, for our website so that folks can see as new resources and materials come out to check them out. We also would love to see you all support the work of state agencies and lift up best practices. State agencies are working night and day. They're working so hard to make sure that these programs can be administered in a way to reach all eligible children. So we'd like you to consider impactful ways that you can partner with your states to help overcome some obstacles and support them through setting up these permanent programs, like sharing best practices, sharing ideas, and also sharing across what some technology solutions may be for standing up the program. And then lastly, USDA is here to hear what folks are saying. We know that there are so many subject matter experts who are on this call who are involved in standing up these programs. We encourage you to continue to reach out to us if you have ideas, thoughts, questions about how this program can look on the ground and what we should be focused on. And again, we will share not only our website, but the external affairs team's email address. So for folks, if you have any questions or ideas or thoughts, think of the external affairs team kind of as the front door of FNS, where you can reach out to us and we can help you navigate and make sure that you're connecting to the right folks within USDA. We just wanted to leave you today with just a quick timeline on a number of milestones that will be happening as the program is phased in. So the first milestone that passed was the Consolidated Appropriations Act being signed into law, of course. And then in summer 2023, we had the last summer where EBT benefits will be eligible for children. And many states then started the non-congregate meal service in certain rural areas. By the end of 2023, so in the next few months, USDA will issue interim final regulations on both the non-congregate meal service in rural areas and summer EBT, which is required by law. However, we heard from many stakeholders well in advance that as much as we could share before the December deadline by Congress to put out the interim final rule, that we should be sharing guidance and information, kind of giving a sneak peek at what's coming in the IFR. We have put out a few guidance memos. Again, at the end, when we are putting links in the chat box, we will also link to the guidance that is out there, both on a non-congregate and also on summer EBT. By January 1st, states need to have told USDA of their intent to elect summer EBT. So that will be here before we know it at the beginning of the new year. And then we really want to flag for folks in late winter, there will be, from the state level, there will be plans due to FNS on how their summer meal programs will run and also the summer EBT program. And we will be doing a lot to reach out to stakeholders and others to launch the summer 2024 activities. So we are hoping to have kickoff events, to have additional resources. There will be opportunities for stakeholders to have additional information about what the program will look like in summer 2024 and additional asks that we are going to be asking folks to support us on. So I just want to flag that that will be happening kind of in late winter and the beginning of calendar year 2024. And then lastly, what we're aiming for is the launch of summer EBT and the non-congregate meal program for 2024. But that's just the beginning, right? When we're having these conversations on the ground, we don't want to just be talking about summer 2024. We want to be talking about plans for summer 2024 and beyond. And so as you're trying to help establish where the funds are going to come from for the 50% match in 2024, the conversation should be broader about, well, what are we doing for 2024 and what are we going to do for 25 and beyond, right? That we really want to think about what the long-term sustainable solutions are for providing that administrative match. And with that, I just want to say thank you again. We wanted to give you an overview, feel like folks have a good understanding of what is in the appropriations bill was in the omnibus bill and what our opportunities are in front of us. And so I'm going to turn it over to Blair and Kelsey to see if there's any questions. And I also want to give my colleague, Farrah Buff, an opportunity to introduce herself.
Thanks, Liz. I'm Farrah Buff, also External and Governmental Affairs for FNS. We're so delighted to be here with you today, and thank you to FRAC for being such a terrific partner. I only came on camera to support questions because, Liz, there are a number of questions that have come in. Kelsey, do you want me to just start going through those?
I think Blair and I will go back and forth asking them.
Okay, sounds good.
Blair, you were gonna cover the first one?
Yep, I will. I'll ask the first one, and again, just want to invite everyone to please keep sending in questions. We have a ton so far, and really appreciate everyone's engagement here. The first question that we have is really just to provide a little bit of additional detail and background about how the summer EBT program and a non-congregate feeding option for summer meal programs interact with one another.
Farrah, would you like to take that one, or got it? Okay. Thank you, Blair, for that question. Again, I think the vision that USDA has is that we have 3 tools in our toolbox to address summer hunger, and the intent is for all of these programs to work to complement each other and not to necessarily be in competition with one another. So, for example, if somebody were to receive summer EBT benefits, that would not necessarily be a deterrent to engage in and participate in a summer meal site where we know that there's additional benefits besides a healthy meal, especially around enrichment activities for academic and physical activity outcomes. So our intent is for these programs to complement one another so that kids have access to healthy, nutritious meals through the entire summer.
Wonderful. I think we will skip the next question. Blair, do you want to go to question 3?
Yep. So a third question we received in chat. Would you please address if the benefit paid to clients in the summer EBT program is 100% federally funded, or if the benefits are also 50% federal and 50% state match?
I can take that. Sure. As Liz said, I think the benefits for families are 100% federally funded and are uncapped. There is not a limit on the number of families, eligible families, who can receive benefits, and the program is authorized permanently, which is really remarkable. Only the administrative costs associated with operating the program are subject to the 50% state match.
Thanks so much, Farrah. The next question is, will states be able to opt into the program after January 1st, 2024? I'm wondering because some states may need legislation to get their state to do it.
So great question. I'm going to answer one question you might not have asked and one that I think you did. So the first thing is, we very much hope that every single state will operate summer EBT for summer 2024. And that is our going in assumption, and we will do everything we can to support states in getting there. If there are states that simply cannot, for whatever reason, that does not mean that they should not be working towards standing up the program for summer 2025. So that is, I think, one really important point to make. It is not a one shot, and if you don't opt in this year, you can't do it. If you're asking the question of if a state came in February, could they implement? That's a question I think we would need to take back. But there's a statutory requirement that the state express interest by January 1st. My sense is that that is not necessarily a hard commitment, and that there may be an ability to do that in a sort of exploratory way. But it's a great question, and we'll take it back, and feel free to reach out with any specific questions. that are case specific for your state or area.
Thank you, Farah. I have the next question in the chat. Can states require all families to complete a new application? We're trying not to use files provided by the schools based on application information received beginning of the school year.
Another great question. The answer is states cannot require all students or all families to complete new applications. The statute requires explicitly that states automatically enroll students who are either what's called able to be directly certified, which means they are in a household that has received SNAP during the year, or in many states that has received TANF or Medicaid during the year. And those families should be automatically issued benefits. And also they're required to automatically issue benefits to children who are certified for free or reduced price school meals during the year. I'm gonna take a step further and address what I think might be underlying your question, which is a lot of family situations or addresses change from the beginning of the school year to the end of the school year. And when you're issuing benefits to families towards the end of the school year, it's really important to have updated information about where they are, both addresses and schools. And so I think that's a really important point to raise, and something that we really need our education partners help in thinking about. What is the best way to get, updated addresses and contact information to distribute the cards, closer to the time when summer benefits are distributed. But the way the statute is crafted, they are really, Congress envisioned piggybacking on all of the, information that families are already providing for other benefit programs.
Thank you so much. The next question is, would there be a process for CEP schools to work with SNAP, TANF, and Medicaid data match kids with summer EBT eligibility?
So that's a good segue. So for those of you that aren't familiar, there is a requirement that states directly certify children who are in households participating on SNAP through administrative data for school meals, for free school meals. And in CEP schools, even though they're not directly certifying them in the way that creates eligibility, since all children are offered meals at no cost, those matches are still happening because they are in part looking at what's called the identified student percentage rate. Many states match more than just SNAP, which might be TANF. They might be doing a match against Head Start or runaway and homeless youth lists, things like that. And then 39 states, I believe now, or it could be 38, are doing what we call direct certification with Medicaid, where they're using Medicaid data basically as an income lookup to identify children who are below 130% of poverty or 185% of poverty and directly certify them for free or reduced price meals. It's been extremely successful for the states that have done it. All of those children that are identified, regardless of whether the school is participating in CEP, can be automatically issued benefits. And in fact, are required to be automatically issued benefits. The only households that will need to fill out applications in CEP schools are those who are not otherwise participating in one of those programs. But I think the person who asked the question is thinking just along the lines of what the folks who created the program were intending.
Kelsey and Blair, I believe that was all of the questions that were asked during the presentation, and we absolutely want to give you all time to have a conversation. So I just want to say thank you so much from FNS. We really appreciate you all listening. We can tell that there's excitement as well, and we look forward to partnering with you all moving forward. And please let us know if there's anything we can do to support you as you continue to support these efforts. So thanks, everyone, and take care.
Thanks again so much to our FNS colleagues. For those of you who are on the call, we're going to shift to the final 10 minutes of today, a presentation from Kelsey with FRAC, looking at some important next steps and some action items for folks on the call.
Wonderful. Thank you, Blair. So I just want to go over a few things that you all can start doing and thinking about in order to really get summer EBT up and moving. So right now, many states have not committed to participating in the summer EBT program in 2024. So the first thing you and your organizations can do is check in with your state to see where they're at. If they plan on participating, then your job is a little easier, and all that needs to be done over the next few months is periodic check-ins to ensure they remain committed to running the program. If your state says they're not thinking about participating, then executing an advocacy plan is vital in securing money for all children in your state next summer. It is important to note that why your state says you're unable to participate, as it can help shape your advocacy moving forward. So here are just a few general advocacy strategies. And this is really for people who may not do this work every day. So the first is to build a coalition. On this webinar alone, we have representatives from the anti-hunger sphere, the education sphere, as well as others. By working together towards a shared goal, your message can carry more weight. You can also reach out to retailers associations or grocers associations, as well as other stakeholders that may be helpful and supportive. The second is partnering with elected officials that are sympathetic to your cause. And the third is to use multiple platforms to spread your message. This can include social media campaigns, sign-on letters, and leveraging the media to publish op-eds or get news coverage. Fourth and fifth work hand in hand. Depending on the political landscape of your state, you may need to frame summer EBT in different ways. In some states, using lived experiences to convey an emotional message will be the best path forward. And in others, you may need to lean more into economic benefits of the program for your state. All of this we can help you with at FRAC. We can help you shape your campaign moving forward. And my contact information will be shared in this chat at the end so that you can reach out to me and we can talk about a strategy. Really quickly, I just want to talk about two areas within the summer EBT program that really we need to get states to focus on right now. So the first is administrative funding. As USDA stated, states will only be receiving 50% of administrative funds, and the rest must be covered by the state with non-federal funds. So with most states finished with their budgets for the next fiscal year, advocacy in this realm can be challenging. There are a few grants that USDA is allowing states to utilize, including state administrative expense funds and non-competitive technology innovation grants. Other ways for funding to be allocated is through amendments or supplements to the fiscal year budget, depending on your state's budgetary process. The second is statewide applications. According to our calculations through data from our CEP report, over 5 million students across the US will have to fill out an application in order to receive summer EBT benefits. So as USDA mentioned, a statewide application is not required for summer 2024. Those states still must provide a pathway for those students to receive benefits. And we see a statewide application as a best practice. This allows for better promotion of the program and maximizes opportunities for eligible children to access it. And then, finally, I just wanted to raise up this bill, the Stop Child Hunger Act of 2023, which works to really strengthen the summer EBT program. It will expand the new permanent summer EBT program to provide benefits during all school breaks or virtual or hybrid instruction periods, adding to the summer benefit that the program provides. It will also provide the value of free school breakfast, lunch, and snack reimbursement rates for each day that the child received benefits. For most states, this is about $8.40 for the coming school year, compared to the $40 a month per child summer benefit level set in the fiscal year Omnibus. This bill would allow would allow for 100% of administrative costs to be covered, and would also award $50 million in grants for states to support the development of data systems or upgrade existing data systems to carry out this program. So I will put a link in the chat to where you can go to send a letter to your representative. It's just a quick little form that you can fill out if you are interested in speaking to your representative. So that is in the chat. I'm going to put my email in the chat, and I think that is it. And like I said, feel free to reach out to us to come up with an advocacy strategy. We're more than welcome, or you're more than welcome to do that, and we are more than happy to meet with you and speak with you.
Well, thank you so much, Kelsey. And again, a huge thanks to everyone for joining us this afternoon for today's webinar. I hope this was informative. As I mentioned in the chat, both of our emails are there. If there are any additional questions that you have that we can help answer, or if you're curious about talking through next steps, please let us know. Again, really appreciate everyone for being generous for your time and joining us this afternoon, and hope to be in touch with you all soon.
Thank you.